Climate change is one of the most pressing issues facing our nation today. It is a multifaceted problem that affects every aspect of our lives, from the air we breathe to the stability of our economy. The urgency to address this issue has never been greater, as the impacts are becoming more visible and severe with each passing year. It's not a distant threat, it's impacting us right now. We are witnessing unprecedented weather patterns, with floods and wildfires becoming more frequent and devastating. These events are not isolated incidents but part of a larger, more troubling trend. Across the United States, we see its effects in rising sea levels, more intense heat waves, and extreme weather events. Coastal cities are grappling with the threat of submersion, while inland areas face the brunt of heat waves and hurricanes. The aftermath of these events leaves communities in disarray, struggling to rebuild and recover. These changes have profound consequences for our economy, our health, and our environment. Farmlands are suffering from unpredictable weather, leading to crop failures and food shortages. Businesses are forced to close, unable to cope with the financial strain of repeated natural disasters, and our way of life. Families are being displaced, and the most vulnerable among us are suffering the most. The elderly, children, and those with pre-existing health conditions are particularly at risk during extreme weather events. Addressing climate change is not just an environmental issue. It's about protecting our families, our homes, and our communities. It's about ensuring that future generations can enjoy the same natural beauty and resources that we have today. Communities and future. The resilience of our communities is being tested, but it also shows our capacity to come together in times of crisis. Volunteers and first responders play a crucial role in relief efforts, helping to rebuild and restore normalcy. It's about ensuring a stable climate for generations to come. Initiatives like tree planting and community gardens are small but significant steps towards a more sustainable future. These actions not only help the environment but also foster a sense of community and shared responsibility. This challenge requires a collective effort, with individuals, businesses, and governments working together to find solutions. Corporate responsibility and governmental policies play a pivotal role in driving large-scale change. Sustainable business practices and legislative measures can significantly reduce our carbon footprint, and governments working together to find solutions. Public-private partnerships are essential in mobilizing resources and expertise. Community cleanup events and local initiatives can make a big difference when scaled up and supported by broader policies. The urgency of the situation cannot be overstated. Scientists and emergency responders are on the front lines, providing critical data and immediate relief. Their work underscores the need for timely and effective action. Every day we delay action, the problem becomes more complex and the consequences more severe. Melting glaciers and severe weather patterns are stark reminders of the accelerating pace of climate change. The longer we wait, the harder it will be to reverse the damage. The time to act is now. We have the knowledge, the technology, and the resources to confront this challenge head-on. Renewable energy sources like solar and wind power are becoming more accessible and affordable, offering viable alternatives to fossil fuels, and the resources to confront this challenge head-on. By understanding the science, embracing innovation, and working together, we can develop new technologies and strategies to mitigate the effects of climate change. Research and development in green technology are crucial for creating sustainable solutions. We can build a more sustainable and resilient future for all Americans. Green buildings and sustainable practices in communities are examples of how we can live in harmony with our environment. These efforts not only reduce our carbon footprint but also improve our quality of life. Let's rise to the challenge and create a brighter future for generations to come. By taking action now, we can ensure that our children and grandchildren inherit a world that is not only livable but thriving. Together, we can make a difference. Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. These shifts can be natural, but since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change. The primary cause is the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas. When burned, fossil fuels release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. These gases trap heat from the sun, causing the planet to warm. This warming effect is often referred to as the greenhouse effect. The main greenhouse gas is carbon dioxide, but others include methane and nitrous oxide. The increase in greenhouse gases is causing significant changes to our climate system. These changes include rising global temperatures, melting glaciers and ice sheets, rising sea levels, and more frequent and intense extreme weather events. The scientific consensus on climate change is overwhelming. Understanding the science behind climate change is crucial for addressing the problem. It allows us to develop effective solutions and make informed decisions about our future. The evidence is clear. Human activities are the dominant cause of the observed warming since the mid-20th century. This warming is directly linked to the increase in greenhouse gas emissions from our cars, power plants, and deforestation. Each year, we release billions of tons of carbon dioxide and other heat-trapping gases into the atmosphere. These gases act like a blanket around the Earth, trapping heat and causing the planet to warm. The more we emit, the thicker the blanket becomes and the warmer the planet gets. This warming trend is unprecedented in human history. Scientists have observed dramatic changes in our climate system, from rising sea levels to shrinking glaciers. These changes are consistent with the warming caused by increased greenhouse gas concentrations. The impacts of climate change are already being felt around the world, but they are particularly pronounced in the United States. We are experiencing more extreme heat waves, droughts, wildfires, and floods. These events are becoming more frequent and more intense, costing lives, damaging property, and disrupting our economy. Section 4. Nature's Fury Unleashed, Extreme Weather in a Changing Climate. As our planet warms, the atmosphere holds more moisture, fueling more intense storms and hurricanes. Climate change is increasing the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events across the United States. Hurricanes are becoming more powerful, with stronger winds and heavier rainfall, leading to unprecedented levels of destruction. Heat waves are becoming more common, lasting longer, and reaching higher temperatures. Cities with their concrete and asphalt become heat islands, exacerbating the effects of these heat waves. This extreme heat poses serious risks to human health, particularly for the elderly, infants, and those with pre-existing conditions. Heat-related illnesses, such as heat stroke and dehydration, are on the rise, putting additional strain on healthcare systems. Droughts are also becoming more severe and prolonged, impacting agriculture, water resources, and increasing the risk of wildfires. Farmers face crop failures, and communities struggle with water shortages, affecting both food security and daily life. Wildfires themselves are becoming larger, more destructive, and more difficult to contain. The combination of dry conditions and high temperatures creates a perfect storm for these infernos, which can devastate entire ecosystems and communities. These fires release massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, further exacerbating climate change. The smoke from wildfires also poses serious health risks, affecting air quality and causing respiratory issues for people living miles away. Heavy precipitation events are also on the rise, leading to more frequent and severe flooding. These floods can occur with little warning, overwhelming drainage systems, and causing widespread damage. These floods can damage homes and businesses, contaminate drinking water, and disrupt transportation systems. The economic impact of such events can be devastating, with recovery efforts taking years and costing billions of dollars. Climate change is loading the dice, making extreme weather events more likely and more severe. The unpredictability of these events makes it challenging for communities to prepare and respond effectively. These events are a stark reminder of the urgent need to address climate change. Public awareness and activism are growing, with people demanding action from governments and corporations to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and invest in sustainable solutions. By reducing our emissions and adapting to the changes already underway, we can protect ourselves and future generations from the worst impacts of a warming world. Investing in renewable energy, reforestation, and resilient infrastructure are crucial steps in this fight. Together, we can build a more sustainable and resilient future. Section 5. Coastal communities at risk: rising seas and a shifting shoreline. As global temperatures rise, glaciers and ice sheets melt at an accelerated rate, causing sea levels to rise. This phenomenon is not just a distant threat, it is happening right now, with visible consequences around the globe. The melting of these massive ice formations contributes significantly to the volume of water in our oceans, leading to higher sea levels. This poses a significant threat to coastal communities across the United States. These areas, often densely populated and economically vital, are particularly vulnerable to the encroaching waters. The rising sea levels threaten not only the physical landscape, but also the livelihoods and homes of millions of people. Millions of Americans live in areas vulnerable to sea level rise, from major cities like Miami and New York to smaller coastal towns. These cities are not just population centers, They are hubs of economic activity, culture, and history. The potential loss and damage to these areas could have far-reaching implications for the entire country. Rising seas increase the risk of flooding, erosion, and storm surges. These events can devastate communities, leading to loss of life, property, and economic stability. Flooding can occur not just from the sea, but also from rivers and streams that back up due to higher sea levels. Even a small increase in sea level can have devastating consequences, inundating homes, businesses, and critical infrastructure. Roads, bridges, and utilities are all at risk, which can disrupt daily life and economic activities. The cost of repairing and replacing this infrastructure can be enormous. Coastal communities are on the front lines of climate change. They are the first to feel the impacts and often have the least resources to adapt. These communities are not just facing a temporary problem, they are dealing with a long-term shift that requires significant planning and investment. They are already experiencing the impacts of rising seas, and these impacts will only worsen in the coming decades. Erosion is eating away at beaches, and higher water levels are encroaching on land that was once safe. The frequency and severity of coastal flooding are increasing, making it clear that this is a problem that will not go away on its own. The economic costs of inaction are staggering. Without significant efforts to mitigate and adapt to these changes, the financial burden will only grow. Insurance costs are rising, and some areas may become uninsurable. The loss of property value can have a ripple effect throughout the economy. Sea level rise could displace millions of people, damage trillions of dollars worth of property, and disrupt critical industries like tourism and fishing. The social and economic fabric of these communities is at risk. Displacement can lead to a host of other issues, including loss of community, increased poverty, and mental health challenges. Protecting our coastal communities requires a two-pronged approach: reducing greenhouse gas emissions to slow the rate of sea level rise, and adapting to the changes that are already underway. This means taking immediate action to cut emissions while also planning for the future. This includes investing in seawalls, restoring natural barriers like dunes and wetlands, and relocating critical infrastructure. These measures can provide immediate relief and long-term resilience. By working together, we can protect our coastal communities and ensure they remain vibrant and thriving for generations to come.